Good afternoon, Transpac race fans. I'm Dobbs Davis, giving you the Monday, 3rd of July report for where we are in this year's Transpac. We'll look at the tracker and see what kind of stories and conclusions we can pull out of this. It's been an interesting race thus far, and let's see why that is. So I'm going to start by zooming in. And for those that are new to this PASHA Hawaii YB tracker system, just move your cursor around and see what the different toggles do. Obviously, I just use a zoom tool. That's good for getting in close. There's another tool I'm going to use here, which is this one. It gives you a variety of wind vector options, and I like to use the windy one, because not only does it show you these animated vectors from the wind direction, but also wind speed. And the wind speed scale is down at the bottom of the screen, where the blues are light air, the greens are more moderate breeze, and then the heavy breeze is shown here up in the, like off the Northern California coast. Those are over 30 knots and quite strong. So you can see there's still 3 distinct groups. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. For orientation, Hawaii is here, California is here, and the red line is the Great Circle route. Now, one thing that's unusual about this Transpac is almost everybody is up on the line. Typically, after Catalina, the teams dive to the south in order to get going fast, because the high pressure that they want to avoid is centered usually up in here and going along the rum line or the Great Circle, while it's shorter distance is dangerous because the air is light. This year, the high pressure is positioned further north, allowing everybody to sail a shorter distance, but at slightly less wind speed, and we'll talk about that here in a moment. This group here, is the fleet that started on Tuesday. So these are the slowest boats in the fleet, and they're going along quite well. There's a battle royale going on for the two boats in Bosun's Locker, Division 7, and these are sister ships, Daler 46s, called Favonius and Wings. As you can see, they're quite close. Now, I notice a sort of a course change here. While they could be reaching and going straight, perhaps they're going up a little bit to the north so they can bear off and use spinnakers. Not quite sure. I think actually it's probably because they're getting lifted. The wind is shifting back toward the east at this part of the race course for them, and they're keen to get spinnakers up if they don't already have them. Just a reminder, boats with crowns are the first in elapsed time for each of the divisions. So here, Wings is, well, actually, yeah, this crown means that they're first, or have the shortest distance of this fleet to the finish. But these other crowns are boats that are leading their division. So, for example, here's Sweet Akoli. They're leading in the Division 8 Smith Regroup division. So if you're interested in seeing who's doing well, look for the boats with the crowns, move your cursor over. And then the other feature, of course, is not only the boat name and their position and their distance to the finish, that's DTF. It tells you how far they've gone in the last 24 hours. It tells you their current speed and direction. It's not giving it to you in compass bearing, but you can see by the orientation of the graphics. This is the next group. This group here is the next set of faster boats that started on Thursday. They got off to a pretty good start as well. They didn't linger on the coast too long. And again, due to the different orientation of the weather this time, they've actually strayed up above the rum line, which is a little unusual. And again, I think it's to take advantage of their best, what's called VMC, velocity made good down the course. Leading this group is Denali 3, Bill McKinley's boat, and that's a all-carbon race boat, Care 46 Plus, very fast. And so it could be they're actually positioning themselves just to stay in front of this pack and some of their rivals. The other crown here is Westerly 52. This is Santa Cruz 52 in Cabrillo Boat Shop, Division 5, and they're leading that class relative to their Santa Cruz and Santa Cruz 50s and Santa Cruz 52 rivals that are back in here. And let's see, the other feature you can see, looking a little further east, are the two Mod 70s. One of them dropped out. The Argo went back with engine trouble. Orion's is the only stock Mod 70 that's left in the fleet. They've had no changes, no alterations from their one design trim, whereas Maserati, who they're leading, has had many alterations, although before this race they were unable to put their foils, their preferred foils in the boat to get them a little more speed. It was locked in a container that they couldn't get out of customs, so they're sailing with their normal class foils, and maybe just are unfamiliar with that. But they're trailing Orion by a little bit. While that maybe look like a lot in miles, these boats are going fast. Maserati's going 21 knots. Look at that for Orion, 26 knots. So clearly they've found breeze and they found the right sail combination to start going. And then last but not least were the Saturday starters. They're in this group here, led by Rio 100. And what's interesting about this is this group, if we scroll back to after the start, that group got stuck. So Sunday night, they never could get off the coast and just got stuck in holes off the Channel Islands. What happened was both Rio and Good Energy were able to break to the south, find some wind, and then leg out. That other group of Saturday starters finally got in the breeze, but they're just having a tough time. They're in less pressure than everybody ahead of them over here. You can see the blue field from the windy forecast predictions. And not only that, but it's forward of the beam, so they're still jib reaching. They're not even beam reaching yet. But eventually, and in fact, here's a kind of a cool tool as well. If you scroll this forward, it will give you what Windy thinks the wind will do in the future with dates and times accordingly. So tomorrow, certainly tomorrow evening, 4th of July, this group will advance to over here, and they'll have more pressure and maybe can get caught up with everyone else. So that's our report for today, 3rd of July. Tune in. I'm going to try to do these, if not daily, then every other day, and I hope you find them informative. So once again, I'm Dobbs Davis for Trans-Pacific Yacht Club.